Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is Wednesday, February 11th, 2015. This is Texan TV News from Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas, and I'm Brittney Phillips. For today's top story, we turn to Bethany Kyle, who was in the courtroom this morning when lawyers made their opening statements to the jury in the capital murder trial of the man accused of killing American sniper Chris Kyle and Chad Littlefield 2 years ago. Bethany?
This morning, the trial of Eddie Ray Routh, the man accused of murdering American sniper Chris Kyle and Chad Littlefield, began. I was at opening statements this morning at the courthouse in downtown Stephenville, where both sides presented their arguments. To begin, Routh pleaded not guilty to the charges, and he proceeded to take notes throughout the proceedings. The opening statements began with the prosecution's Alan Nash speaking to jurors about what he planned to prove to them. He hopes to prove that Routh intentionally caused the deaths of Littlefield and Kyle and that he knew what he was doing was wrong. Nash painted a picture of how the day of the crime began. Littlefield and Kyle picking up Routh that morning. They went to the shooting range at Rough Creek Lodge, and that is where they were found shot later that day. Littlefield was shot 4 times in the back, once in the hand, once in the face, and once on top of the head. Kyle was shot 5 times in the back and side, once in the side of the head and once in the face. Nash said the 2 men were shot with 2 different guns. When police stopped Routh, he had a fully loaded 9mm gun, which is the same one he used to kill Littlefield. Nash said Routh went to his uncle's home and showed him his new truck and the truck he had stolen from Kyle and the guns, and the next 2 stops after he left there were Taco Bell for a burrito and then his sister's home. At his sister's home, he told her that he had just murdered 2 men, and she called 911 and he left. Nash told jurors that Routh was stopped by police when he went to his home but refused to get out of the truck. That he refused to get out of the truck, Nash said, showed that Routh was in control of his faculties and knew that if he got out, he would go to jail. He fled on Interstate 35 toward Oklahoma but was stopped. He confessed to Texas Rangers that he had killed 2 men and confessed to drug abuse. Next, Tim Moore began Routh's defense. He began by creating a timeline on a large board on the easel, with the top being the date of the deaths. He told the jury that Routh was a troubled veteran, and because of his psychosis, he thought that it would either be him or Littlefield and Kyle to die that day. He talked about Routh's education and military background and how people saw him as a changed person when he returned to civilian life. At the bottom of the board, Moore wrote July 2011, followed by psychosis to signify when Routh was first diagnosed and treated. He then moved up the board with more dates of events that dealt with his mental health. In August 2011, Routh was readmitted to a mental institution and thought to be suicidal. In September of 2012, Routh was stopped by police in the street and taken back into a mental hospital. Moore told the jury that shortly before the shooting, on January 19, 2013, Routh had a psychotic episode involving his girlfriend and was taken back into the mental hospital and released on January 25th. At this point, his mother asked the hospital not to release him, but was reassured that he was fine and just needed to take his medication. Littlefield and Kyle picked up Routh the morning of February 2nd, and they made the nearly 2-hour car ride to Rough Creek together. During that trip, Kyle texted Littlefield that Routh was nuts, and Littlefield sent a message saying, "He's right behind me, watch my 6," as Routh sat in the truck behind him. Moore said jurors would see medical records and hear from friends, family, and a board-certified forensic psychologist during the trial. Through these testimonies, he told the jury that he would prove that to them at the time of the tragedy, Routh was insane. Kyle's wife, Taya, testified after opening statements and is expected to return to the stand this afternoon.
Thanks, Bethany. Kyle's widow, Taya, is expected to testify today, followed by Littlefield's mother. In other news today from the Associated Press. In Texas news, more layoffs have hit the Texas oil field industries. Industrial conglomerate GE notified state regulators last week that it will lay off 330 employees in East Texas at Lufkin Industries. It's the latest sign the collapse of petroleum prices is forcing oil companies to jettison workers and adjust to much leaner profits. In 2012, Lufkin Industries, named for the East Texas city, had 4,400 employees. However, Laura Bauer said in an emailed statement that GE Oil and Gas has started reconstructing projects, which includes reducing employment. In national news, a recent measles outbreak that has sickened more than 100 people has brought attention to policies in 48 states that allow parents to opt out of their vaccinations of their children because of their religious or personal beliefs. In the past, Mississippi and West Virginia have struggled with health issues. Yet, when it comes to getting children vaccinated, these states have the highest immunization rate. In these two states, the rules are firm. Barring a significant medical reason, kids who haven't been vaccinated can't attend public or private schools. Dr. Rahul Gupta, West Virginia's state health officer, said the limit on exemptions is the reason his state has been spared from any measles outbreaks for decades. In fact, some people in West Virginia are perplexed that people wouldn't get their kids vaccinated. However, Mississippi lawmakers are now considering a proposal to let doctors grant medical exemptions that would allow children to skip or delay a vaccination. A group called Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights said the Department of Health has ignored its concerns and that the state requires too many immunizations early in life. In international news, Egyptian prosecutors have ordered three soccer fans detained for 15 days and have released 18 others on bail in the wake of a deadly stampede outside Cairo Stadium. The fans are accused of attacking policemen, damaging police cars, and terrorizing the public. The official said 18 fans were released after paying a bail of $26 each. They are all also accused of rioting and burning a police car. Prosecutor Mohammed Seif told reporters that none of the 21 had been formally charged with anything yet. Authorities say at least 19 people were killed Sunday night when police fired tear gas into a crowd of fans waiting in a fenced area. They tried to enter the stadium in eastern Cairo. Many of the dead suffocated or were crushed in a melee. It was the deadliest act of soccer-related violence in Egypt since 2012. Prosecutors said 22 died, but the government's health ministry said 19 died. No police officers were killed. Government officials defended the police tactics, arguing that fans without tickets wanted to break into the stadium. Fan representatives rejected these accusations. Egypt's government ordered the soccer league to suspend games nationwide indefinitely following the violence. In sports news, Malcolm Butler has intercepted the delivery of Tom Brady's new truck. Mike Reese, reporter for the New England Patriots, reports about the heartwarming moment when Butler happily took ownership of the brand new red Chevrolet Colorado. Brady earned the prize, winning the Super Bowl MVP for the third time. He led the Patriots to a 28-24 victory over the Seattle Seahawks in this year's Super Bowl game. But the New England Patriots didn't clinch the game win until Butler intercepted a pass at the goal line in the last minute of the game. Brady asked Chevrolet if Butler could have the truck instead. In Brady's generosity, Butler took delivery of the shiny red truck at a Boston area dealership on Tuesday evening. Today's broadcast was produced by Abby McCoy, Chanda Neal, and Kelsey Pointer. You can watch Texan TV News live Monday through Friday at 12:30 on Northland Cable Channel 9. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of Texan TV News on Facebook. I'm Brittney Phillips. Tune in tomorrow for the latest news from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville.